How's it going, guys? I want to make this informational video and kind of to redeem myself from a little post I did on Instagram not too long ago. But anyways, this is the question. How many times a week should you work out? So a lot of people have this stigma where unless they're working out 6 days a week, they feel like progress is meaningless. And I can honestly say that you're asking yourself, well, you're putting yourself in a losing scenario, because to be completely honest, I don't know too many people that can actually maintain 6 days a week unless you really have a schedule that can let you surrounded by that. And who wants to be in the gym 6 days a week? But anyways, I digress. But anyways, the better question should be how long does it take you to recover? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Gotta readjust everything. Because this right here is what's gonna determine how many times you should be working out. And so when you are trying to figure everything out, you have a lot of options. And what it comes down to is the amount of work that you put into it. Alright, it's not the fact that you just simply show up to the gym 6 days a week, but it can be meaningless. You can't be like training hard enough to where the body adapts to the stimulus. But if you go in there and you train yourself every day, you're still making it hard for your body to adapt because you're under constant stress. So what you gotta do is you gotta find a way to manage these three things: frequency, intensity, and volume. You could say that, and by volume, because volume in general, you could say, you can argue that volume is basically still all three of these, just more organized. But, what I mean by this volume is in a single workout, in one workout. And this is what I mean by one workout. So, you have to find how much, because let's say frequency. Frequency is the amount of times you go back and hit the muscle group. So if this is high, then something here has to be low. And that's the thing. If you want to get the best results, I recommend probably balancing all three of these. But again, that's also catered towards the individual. Some people respond better to others. But you basically either have them really balanced, or you can only emphasize two of them at a time. If you keep intensity high, then you have to either reduce frequency or volume. You can't have all three of them like just super high, because, well, one, that means they're just all balanced, and two, again, you put yourself under so much stress that it's very hard for your body to adapt under those circumstances. Very few, unless you have like a really, really, really good work capacity with GPP work, or you work something like construction and you really have built that work capacity. But just for the sake of this, let's say you only want to go to the gym 2 times a week. So obviously frequency is lower. Lower frequency for 2 days. If you're for a 2-day week split, you're obviously, it's only going to be that. And speaking of which, you find yourself that you have lower days where you're working out, then this is where you find splits. And obviously, if it's only 2 days, you obviously want full body. One, because you get the 2 times per week protein synthesis, and you can really go on intensity and volume. You can actually break them up into 2 days. You can have one intensity and one volume day. And thank you, Alex Leonidas, for, I also picked this up from you, because you also really advocate full body 2 times a week, ranging intensity volume. And I really do believe that's another very effective way to train. But let's say you want to kick up frequency a little bit. So obviously one of these two is going to have to drop, but you can still, maintain. And so it's not going to be, you're not going to have an intensity and a volume day. You're probably going to have something around the ranges of probably either a light medium, and heavy. And the split, if you're, let's say you're playing about 4 times a week, then you could I'd probably recommend upper lower, or push pull, whatever suits your fancy. That's my probably recommend if you want to go about 4 times a week. 3, you can, honestly with 3, it's more upper, lower, but probably one's more catered towards something, like, let's say it's, like you have one upper and one lower, but you also, it's like the workout in the middle is probably going to be something along the lines of like doing like abs and something along the lines of like cardio. So that's like, you want to do like 3 times a week. So on that, rep ranges. So obviously that if you go, the more reps you do, and what I mean by like effective reps, I'd say anything probably above the 50% of your 1 rep max. So in terms of if you were to work a lot on reps, you know, you're obviously getting more volume. So I'd say anything above, well, basically just stigma for rep ranges. So obviously, like, people are like, oh, if you want to build strength, it's 1 to 5. If you want to build muscular endurance, it's like 12 to 20. If you want to, I guess if you want that sweet spot, or what they call the Goldilocks zone, because there's the 2 methods of either work with minimalism, so it's the least amount of work you have to do in order to progress, or you have the maximum recoverable volume, which is either the very low end or the very high end. But we want the Goldilocks zone. Basically, it's, you're not training too hard, but you're not training too weak. It's just right. And I say that's for the majority of people, that's probably where people need to be. So for rep ranges, it can honestly be anything, to be completely honest, because if, let's say you do a lot of reps of something, but you're still under progressive overload, which means you're increasing intensity. If you're increasing the load, you're increasing the intensity of the exercise, obviously. I mean, no one can argue that a 155 bench is harder than a 205. No one's going to argue that, because you probably sound really stupid. Everything. Every rep range. You want all the rep ranges. You want to work on everything, because it doesn't really matter. In the long run, it's all about the progressive overload, which provides the adaptation to the higher intensity workload. And you could say that with the higher intensity, it'll accumulate to more volume as well. And it's just kind of funny, because everything kind of still correlates with each other. And you could say this is just organized work. And let's just call this little middle thing here is work. And how you organize your said work is what determines what kind of work you should be doing and how many times you should be training. Because people will say, oh, well, it takes 48 hours for your muscle fibers to recover. It depends on how hard you hit them. And they also forget your central nervous system takes time to recover. So on top of the 48 hours, you still have the CNS still trying to get adjusted along with that. And, you know, with recovery, again, is still the most important factor. And you can tell that, let's just say you're an average Joe and you run like a powerlifting split, or you do something along the lines of, you do like 3 weeks of a certain rep range, and then you do a deload. So, you know, obviously performance is going to be increasing, and you're going to probably kind of come down, and then over time it's just going to plateau, then come down like that. That's what I would say. Like, I would say if you're novice right here, where it just kind of shoots up, and then intermediate's like more subtle, and then advanced it's like very, very small increments of progression. But, you know, as long as the accumulated gradual rise on the slope is occurring, then you're obviously making gains. So you can enjoy that. So again, it's not about how many times you should be. It's not how many times you should work out is the question. It's how much can you recover from? Are you recovering enough? Or every time you go into the gym, are you able to hit all your sets to the extent that you want them to? Are you progressing? If you're not progressing in the gym, it's basically meaningless, because if you're not adding weight or you're not adding volume, there's no reason why your body would grow. Again, hypertrophy is basically it's an adaptation, and basically you go through neural adaptations, aka getting used to the movements, the movement patterns. It's just better to recruit muscle fibers, and then once after you get better at that and applying the right intensity, hypertrophy happens, and then that's the actual growth of the muscle. And people will say, well, what about the sarcoplasmic and myofibrillar hypertrophy? That's a set ratio. That's all genetic. You can't really manipulate that. There's studies that say, oh well, 30% of your muscle growth can come from sarcoplasmic, and that's from doing high reps, and that's more like bodybuilding type style. And then if you want the myofibrillar, it's the strength training. But again, it's a set ratio, and that's why. And actually, that is why some people get better results from having a higher frequency, or they'll have better results, higher volume, higher intensity, and lowering one of these. But that's why you gotta experiment a little bit. I find that as a novice, you probably want to find a novice program. So probably a lot of times you'll see a 3 times a week split, something going upper, lower, upper, then it's just every other week it's just alternating the two. So it's like a workout A, workout B, workout A, and then you next week workout B, workout A, workout B again. So some people probably only do that for novices. That's just basically to get your strength up, because a lot of people, they want to sit there and hop on super advanced programming as a novice. It's like, are you gonna run small as a novice, or do you really want to add 5 pounds to your bench a year? It's not gonna happen. So the main takeaway is that don't listen to your bros. All right, because people in the gym all the time, every 40 hours, come on, hit that muscle group. I say to a degree, it's if you're under the amount, if you have enough volume that you can recover from, then go for it. And you just want to find that the Goldilocks zone, all right? Because that way you're not under too many stressors, and you still don't have the minimalism. I believe minimalism is kind of stupid, to be completely honest. Why would you sit there and have a progression rate of this? I mean, in the long run, the end goal is still the same. And let's just say this is time, and we'll just call this E for effort. So this is what minimalism looks like. It's kind of like it's just slow. Actually, that's actually a horrible representation, because it's out of nowhere. It's like, wow, you make really crappy gains, but it's actually more like. And you still end up at that point. Then if you were to, do maximum recoverable amount of volume, I'll probably look more into that, where you're always going to be better off. In your short-term journey, you're always going to be stronger and probably better looking if you were to do the maximum amount of volume you can train. You can recover from. But the thing is that, what I mean by that is also the efficiency, because there's a thing of you train too much where the adaptation isn't as good as if you were to hold back a little bit, and then that would be the maximum recoverable volume that you want to achieve. But anyways, I know this is very out there. I talk about catering towards novices, but I can also say this is far more advanced stuff that a novice probably shouldn't ever really have to worry about. So, for a novice, which I believe a novice is basically if you don't have a 1.3 times body weight bench. Actually, a better way to indicate this, you should be basically adding, if you're a novice, you should basically be adding at least 5 pounds to 5 to 10 pounds to everything a week. So it's like your bench, probably shoot for something around 5 pounds a week. 5 pounds a week. Alright, again, camera didn't want to do anything for me. Anyways, so the rate of progression, I'd say at least 5 pounds a week for your bench until you hit about a 1.3 times body weight. and that would be for, you would know this is probably the transition from novice to intermediate. Squat, the range I would say 5 to 10 pounds. The rate, sorry, not the rate, but the point where you know you're putting on novice anymore is if you probably do at least 2 times your body weight. 2 times body weight. And then the last but not least, your deadlift. And when I'm talking about these lifts specifically, and Marcus just doesn't want to anymore, let's go with a pretty green. You guys kind of the pretty green? I think you guys can. Anyways, this is like for a powerlifter. You can apply this basically to a lot of things. You can also take a ratio kind of. So let's say like, oh, I don't do squats though. Like I don't do like barbell back squats. So it's like, okay, well, certain leg exercise. Let's say you're doing front. I would say you're doing like front squats instead of back barbell squats. Just for an example, you could probably find the ratio between like, oh, the strength required between both and what's easier, what's harder, and you could probably adjust this that is applied to that. So there's that. But then for last but not least, the deadlift or anything that kind of is similar movement patterns that you do along the lines of the deadlift. Again, probably still 5 to 10 pounds a week. But this ratio is different. I personally believe that you really do get a 2.5 times body weight deadlift. It could be sumo, conventional, behind the back. Not behind the back. Well, I mean, like, yeah, I guess behind the back. So there you go. That's probably the transition between the novice and intermediate. And there you guys go. That's more for the beginners. This is not going to be for the intermediates. For that progression, obviously, it's going to be a lot slower than that. And I'd probably have a different set of standards for intermediates. But you guys get the point. And that's the video.